Root Mobile presents Amplify Insider in association with CNBC-TV18.
Hello and welcome to Root Mobile presents Amplify Insider in association with CNBC-TV18. I'm Mridu Bhandari. On this exclusive podcast today, we are talking all about turning customer interactions into meaningful conversations, a topic that's more relevant than ever in our digital-first world. With consumer expectations evolving rapidly, especially with digital transformation, brands are finding new ways not just to speak to customers, but to engage with them in a genuine two-way dialogue. How can they then do this effectively? We'll learn from our guest today, Tushar Agnihotri, Executive Vice President for India and APAC at Root Mobile. He leads customer engagement across some of the world's most dynamic markets and has some incredible insights to share with us. Tushar, it's great to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Mridu, for having me here.
Well, let's begin with the changing landscape around customer engagement. What do you think are some of the key driving forces, considering we are in a digital-first world and consumer expectations regarding engagement are changing very, very rapidly?
Well, things have changed dramatically over the last few years. What largely it used to be one-way communication, where typically there was a word used blasting off campaigns, where millions of messages were sent out to the audience, which was expected to be their target audience. They were always guessing on the rate of success they will draw from that. And you would typically have a message at the bottom saying that, please call me back in case you're interested. So this was more a random approach for creating opportunity for a brand, which gradually transitioned from there to more a cohort-based marketing, where you were able to identify what age group, what income group, what geography my possible audience will be. And then you started targeting in those manners. And it was a refined data, so the success degree was slightly higher. But what we're moving towards now is a more personalized approach, where if you do not target the customer right the first time, the likelihood of him or her shutting you out permanently is very, very high. So it's essential for any brands that you define your approach clearly, you define your audience clearly. You define that what is that I'm going to pitch a position, how I'm going to position my brand to them, so I have an effective response from the possible user. And then on the journey starts, and this is more moving towards conversation now, where once you've onboarded, you ensure the entire life cycle is effectively managed. So that's how the transition I see happening now.
You've had experience with India, with the APAC region. Tell us a little bit, when it comes to customer expectations or customer behavior, how is it different? How is the Indian consumer different from perhaps customers in other emerging markets in the APAC region? And at Root Mobile, how are you helping brands harness technology to reach these consumers in the language that they understand?
So one, expectations don't dramatically shift, as you move across or you navigate across the APAC region. What you see is that your preferences change. So while a user here is comfortable receiving a commercial communication over SMS or a WhatsApp, may not be so in a Bangladesh or a Philippine. Now there, the acceptability of Viber is way higher. Viber is another, channel, OTT chat app. So what you need to do is that you understand and of course educate the brands as well, that when you are going to a certain geography, this will fetch you a higher degree of success compared to the channels which have proved to be successful for you in India or any other region. So you need to improvise. Fortunately, our omni-channel platform allows you to access all these channels through a single API, which means a single platform gives you flexibility of using any of these channels effectively. So you can push your communication, your commercial communication using these channels, reaching your customers, and then start building a conversation journey from there. So you can send a communication, you can allow them to make the purchases there, make the payments there, and then start, getting into a status of delivery, which is expected by the user to be updated regularly upon, and post sales, anything which is post sales from there to ensure the life cycle is effectively managed.
Right. And conversations are getting more and more personalized.
Yeah.
Give us a sense then of how brands are now harnessing artificial intelligence or cloud or Gen AI to really ensure hyper personalization in the digital communication that they do with their customers. And, you know, as we move forward, is this going to be more and more personalized, or are we perhaps at the limit of how personalized it can be right now?
One of the relevant application of Gen AI is LLM. LLM stands for large language models. What it does is basically it trains itself, the LLM, over a huge amount of data. So it's able to establish a relation between words, phrases, and sentences. And this is the basis or foundation of natural language processing, which means that if any enterprise adopts it and it runs over the existing knowledge of it, so the LLM actually runs through all your customer contracts, your products, information, your FAQs, your past customer interactions, and builds an intelligence. Now here, through this knowledge, they're able to define or personalize the profile of an existing user, and you start targeting or start defining your communication accordingly. So they are platform, and these LLMs can be integrated on our platform over WhatsApp or RCS. These are two-way communication platforms, and once brand have personalized, they start communicating, understanding the needs of those users. At what time you believe that if a message is sent, he will open and respond effectively. So this LLM is one tool which I guess the adoption will grow in the times to come.
Right. So give us an example of some of your customer brands who are perhaps elevating the customer experience at the B2C level. What are they doing differently? How is Gen AI or AI at large helping them?
Gen AI adoption is still is being worked upon, but I'll tell you some instances, where people have actually used effectively our platform to improve the customer experience. One of the pain point of most of the brands is when it comes to servicing the client after you have, the goods are shifted to the other side. One of our white label brand that we serve, I'm not at the liberty of spelling the brand name. They used our WhatsApp platform very effectively. So whenever the user earlier had a problem, they would have an option of reaching to the call center where the wait time was crazy, half the time the call was lost, or they were not able to communicate the pain point effectively. Now on our WhatsApp platform, we are able to put across a conversation flow so effectively that a user can define that I have this problem and I want an engineer to visit my place at this time. So the conversion flow has been defined in a way that you effectively know when I have to be at my place, when an engineer is visiting me. That's the time most of the people actually miss. An engineer visits there, he tries to reach you, you're not there, and you end up missing them. So this platform allows you, the WhatsApp through a bot integrated on it, on a neatly designed conversation flow. It helps you effectively service the customer, which was earlier a severe pain point for most of them.
So we are also in an omni-channel world today. We are touching customers on different points.
Yeah.
There's a WhatsApp communication, there is an SMS, there is an email, there is a phone call. And yet we want those experiences to all be very personalized, to all be localized, to all be very seamless. Right? So what are some of the challenges that brands have in attaining this seamless and consistent messaging and digital communication with customers? And how are you helping them navigate this?
So most of the brands, while they have started profiling the users. When it comes to reaching out to new ones, is where the trouble starts for them. They don't know exactly how, in what community, what way or form, or what channel they should be using effectively. This is where I guess they have to build intelligence. How do you do so? One way of actually is conducting surveys to understand the needs of the possible user. There has to be a good way of creating a feedback platform where once you have communicated, you ensure that the user define whether the last communication was effective enough or not. So a feedback loop is extremely necessary. What also brands can do is do an A/B testing, where you keep sending those, nudging them through subtle messages and expect them to react to them. You can improvise your approach based on the responses from the user. There is interesting platform called predictive analytics, which is certain large OTTs, large IT players have these tools available. If the brands adopt them, you are able to navigate through how the life cycle of a user, which you're trying to win upon, is managed effectively. How is what he likes today, he may or may not want to use the same service tomorrow. So the predictive analytics is a good platform to give you a sense of the changing user needs and how do you need to, as a brand, adapt yourself.
Right. And when it comes to these multiple channels on which brands are talking to consumers, are there some channels that are more popular than others in the digital world? Or would you say it's very brand dependent and sector dependent?
SMS cuts across. It's still the most popular commercial inbox. Why do I say so? Because it started off, a couple of decades back as a way of two-way communication, P2P communication. But over a period, with the advent of commercial messaging, you saw that it transitioned from being a P2P inbox to an A2P inbox, where brands were landing their messages there. So there is a fair degree of acceptability when it comes to SMS. Now you see that transition happening towards conversation, and when you talk about conversation, of course, you need a application or a platform which encourages it. So an RCS or a WhatsApp or a Viber are the platform where you see the transition happening towards.
But are people still reading the SMSs? Are you reading your SMSs?
Look, it's very interesting. So the way you actually position a header. So header is when you open your SMS inbox, the first thing you see. Now, if that is of interest to you, you will of course go on to reading further. If it is not, you will just swipe it left and say delete. Yes, that's what it is happening. But I guess, a mix of all the channel works for any brand. You can't have a single channel strategy. You need to have a good blend of SMS, the OTT chat app, be it RCS, WhatsApp, or Viber, blend them effectively. Of course, you need to have a intelligent platform reading, studying which message was opened or which message was responded to, right? That helps you actually profile the user. We talked about predictive analytics, about the Gen AI. So this is what, these will be the feeding points for the Gen AI or predictive analytics, where they can start suggesting what should be your next step from here to keep the engagement on.
How do you then see conversational AI? We've had chatbots, we've had virtual assistants for some time now. They're also constantly evolving now with the advent of Gen AI and integrating Gen AI into conversational AI. How do you see this shaping up over the next couple of years? And what is your strategy to integrate some of these tools very effectively into digital communication with your customers?
The chatbot application is largely around text. I see the Gen AI evolving to voice and visuals. Voice will mean that if a company has deployed a Gen AI platform, it will be able to run through the entire host of knowledge you'll have on your interaction with customers. Of course, you record all the customer journeys or customer interactions. It will be able to build a lot of knowledge around that, which will mean that if a customer is calling a center and the tonality is aggressive, So Gen AI will actually help you identify the customer is in an aggressive mode at this point of time, and you will of course give that cue to the agent and ask him to improvise the pitch accordingly. What can a visual tool do to you? That let's say that an intelligent platform is created by browsing through host of information which is available with the brand. Let's talk about a consumer brand like a shirt brand. And if I am passing by a store, I happen to like a shirt, I don't have time to delve and go into the store and buy one. I take a photograph and I go back, open my chat app. I post a picture and say, you have this available in your stocks with you or not. The brand can immediately run through their stocks, then to their availability platform, and say, yes, we can have this delivered to you in next 2 or 3 days. So chat, which is basically text, I see evolving to voice and later visual.
It's going to be very multimodal in its...
It'll be very multimodal. That's the right wording. It will be very, very multimodal. Yes.
Well, so we are also having this conversation on the sidelines of the Root Amplify Summit. It's going to be a platform where a lot of visionaries are coming together. What are the conversations that you're looking forward to? What can we expect from the event?
So Root Amplify is our flagship event. We've been having this event for a decade, almost a decade now. We invite industry leadership there to talk about customer engagement, about how the communication is going to evolve in the times to come. We can expect some keynotes on AI, Gen AI. We can expect some keynotes on evolution of CPaaS platform, and certainly on customer engagement. Yeah, so that's what an attendee can look forward to.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
And finally, as we close this conversation, what is your one piece of advice or a trend that you think brands should be looking out for when it comes to creating engaging customer conversations in the near future?
I guess brands should invest in CDP, which is a customer data platform, and AI both, Gen AI both. So a customer data platform, basically one starts with you placing your data in a certain format, in a certain manner on a platform, which then helps you profile the user. Once your profiling has been done, it basically prepares you to see how your communication has to be targeted, for which, of course, the Gen AI comes in play. And if the profiling is done correct, and if your Gen AI tool has been trained effectively, what it does, it actually starts preparing you for future conversations with the your existing base of clients or new ones, and helps you define how do you want to wish to go on and sell more to those customers.
Well, that's sound advice. Thank you so much, Tushar. Absolute pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much.
And, thanks for sharing those fantastic insights into how brands can create very, very engaging conversations. Well, that's a wrap of this episode of Amplify Insider. It's clear that the future of customer engagement is not only about one-way communication now, it is about actually building genuine, meaningful relationships. In today's omni-channel world, every interaction matters, and the companies that will thrive will be the ones that turn interactions into quality conversations. That's a wrap for today. Until next time, thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
Root Mobile presents Amplify Insider in association with CNBC-TV18.